Early good evening, everyone. Glad to meet all of you. This session is flavoring the feast and how food and beverage need to come together to ensure a feast is what we are talking about. Now, we'll begin with, first of all, just a minute each to you to introduce yourself and, most importantly, the concepts that you're doing.
So hi everyone. I handle 18 as a CEO, the brand which is emerging right now and expanding in India in most of the cities. We have a bunch of outlets which is coming up nearly in 1 month or 2 months actually. It'll be around 6 more are coming in different parts of India. And that's it, nothing more than that.
Yeah, Minakshi?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Minakshi Singh. I'm the co-founder of 3 bars, Cocktails and Dreams Speakeasy in Gurgaon, Sidecar in Delhi, and the latest baby, The Brook in Gurgaon. We also have a farm-to-table concept called the Bhumi Farms, which is in Baliawaz, Gurgaon. Me and my co-founder also run a consulting firm called Drinks India Company. Been in the industry for 20 years, been part of the Alcobev space, started as a bartender, and and having a great time in the F&B industry so far. Thank you.
Lovely.
Hi, my name is Teja Chekuri, and I handle Iron Hill. So we have 6 outlets right now, currently operational. So we have one in Vijayawada, Vizag, Rajahmundry, Nellore, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and now another 4 more outlets are coming up. And along with Iron Hill Brewery, we have multiple other brands. We have one more brewery brand called Prost, which is in Hyderabad currently. And we have two South Indian restaurant brands, United Telugu Kitchens, and that's a non-veg restaurant, and Ista, it's a pure vegetarian restaurant. So that's what we are doing in India right now.
And some restaurants abroad as well.
In US, we have again multiple brands. We have a brand called Godavari. So we operate around 30 locations for that in US. And we have one more called Madras Dosa Company, which is based in Seaport, Boston, and Harvard Square. And we are doing one in Rockefeller, New York, and one in Times Square, New York. And we have multiple other liquor store brands and other F&B brands too in US.
Lovely. And we have Pawan joining us.
Hey, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, super. First of all, it's absolutely amazing being a part of this digitally. Unfortunately, I could not make it physically on the conference, but I'm glad this could happen. A quick introduction. My name is Pawan Shahri. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Chrome Hospitality. We're a company based out of Bombay, which runs 8 different brands currently. We are primarily into the aspirational casual dining sector in Bombay, and that is for our restaurants. And we have a boutique 14-key hotel which is based in Goa called Kaya.
Lovely. Glad to have all of you here. I'll start with you, Minakshi, and I'll ask you, beverage became an integral part of going out. You started off as a beverage first brand, a concept. Most of your places are. How important was it to focus on cocktails to be that different restaurant?
We say this pretty often to a lot of people that, this is all I know, and I feel our industry is so passion driven, very, very, it's a very creative industry. And I've always felt like this is all I know, and hence I started doing it. And, I got great, people to mentor me, to help me reach here where I am here today, and great partners to work with and collaborators throughout. And I think that is why, and we talk about it all the time, that as an F&B entrepreneur, you have to, that is your base, right? And that's where it starts. So cocktails were an element of it, but cocktails were not all that, right? So cocktails come from what is a cocktail, how do you break it down. What does it take to make a great cocktail? It's a lot about hospitality. It's about service. It's about overall environment. It's also about simple things like a great comfortable chair, from good lighting to great music to everything together makes a great bar to actually a great cocktail.
Lovely. Sumit, your place, is there a mic there with you? Your place needs a lively vibe through the day. Take us through the mindset. How do you create that?
So the food, as we are discussing about the food and beverages, actually, so like the food plays very big role in any one of the place. Whether you do a bar, whether you do a restaurant, or you want to do a speakeasy bar, you have to have a right food in place. So that plays a bigger role. Like we have multiple brands also, like on board, like 18 Noma, Pin Code, where we play around the food around. So that plays a very big role in terms of getting the people in, serving to all the communities, taking care of the needs of the people, actually those who are coming to your place, getting into their mindset and why, basically sort of a comfort for them actually. So they will be happy to be there with the food, with the music, with the vibe around, and during the day especially, because our business runs from the day till evening. And any restaurant to be successful, it has to have a good lunch business and a dinner business.
Okay. Pawan, how do you make sure that the places remain relevant, alive, and kicking?
Right. So to answer your question, I mean, actually, even during the concept stage itself, right? What we're trying to do is build for the next 9 years, and that is sort of our core philosophy while developing any restaurant that we do. Why nine is such a significant number is because it's generally just like a leasehold agreement, right? We'll have a 5-year leave-in license agreement, and then there's an option to sort of increase that for the next 4 years. So what we feel is that if we are opening up a restaurant in a particular location, is that going to be sustainable there for the next 9 years? And the second very core ideology is that any location that we start a restaurant in, how can we sort of become the default choice of people in that location when they're going out? And that is the sort of answer to the question that we want to solve for people getting out, or rather going out for any particular location that falls into our category. Is that if they're going out, we want them to look at our restaurants as a number one or a number two or a number three choice in that particular location. And then we sort of start breaking down into what do they need there in terms of the food, what is the gap in terms of the bar menu or the vibe that we're trying to create. And that is the sort of show flow we go with.
Okay. And for you, microbrewery would essentially mean only a beer experience, or how do you think of the entire food and beverage experience?
So beer is a part of the experience, but it's not entirely only beer. But since it's a brewery, from the customer perspective, I think customer gives a lot of importance to the beer. But as a business operator, we need to give equal importance to the food, service, your drinks, whether it's cocktail or straight drinks and beer all together. Because if a customer is coming in, he's not just only coming in for the beer. He will have, obviously, he'll have some food along with the beer, and he expects a good service. And also the ambience or the place where he's sitting also matters to the customer. So I think it's the same thing for as a brewery or 18 or Sidecar, anyone. I think it's all a package together.
Okay. Just to understand from you, Pawan, how would you think of a place? Like, what is your idea of a place for today?
Right. So, I mean, I think the question would be more maybe the location of the property what you're asking. Is that right?
No, what I'm saying is that you think of a place for 9 years. So what is that place?
Right.
If you could just give us some idea that, this is the place we are thinking about. This is how a all-day, high-energy restaurant, diner, bar should be.
Right. So let me answer that specific to a location specific subject. So the biggest question, I mean, always is, does the concept come first, and then we find a location for that concept, or do we find a great location first and then build a concept around what suits there? In the first phase of our restauranting career, I would say, we were trying to build concepts around the locations where we felt, okay, every time we got a great property or a brilliant location, we would ideally then deep dive into what is that is a gap in this particular area and how can we fill that, and then sort of really make it interesting for the people living or working around to be able to visit the property. And most of the times that has always clicked for us. As an example, if we're opening something in BKC in Bombay, which we know is a very corporate heavy location, we try to then identify that gap, figure out what is the spending capacity that people would have in that place, what restaurants currently do not exist in that location, right? And what is something that people would want, which currently is not solved for. And solving that and then doing that extremely well is sort of the cheat code to be able to run for 9 years, because then you create such a strong gap for yourself that even though then there is a second or a third content in the same category, you always become sort of a reference point for everybody, that this is how this brand has done, and then the person coming second, third, or fourth will sort of have to start competing with that. So that is ideally how we're trying to create the place.
Okay. Sumit, you told us about the exciting calendar of openings lined up for 1/8. Does it change from place to place, or it's the same concept that opens everywhere?
So the food and the, you can say like we play around with the food more actually as per the demographics, because there are a lot of people like if I'm going to any corporate hub where I will try and keep something which is like more of a large plates where people will be sharing, and they will be looking for something actually which is like for the groups. But if I'll go to a high street where I will play around with the food, more of innovation actually, the more of the new trends which are going on right now in the market, and improve on my ambience as well, because over there people are coming for experience. But in a corporate sector, actually, sometimes you have limited time to come out and eat. So you have to be a little bit more faster, and you have to have bigger portions actually for sharing.
Okay. And will all your menus across, Teja, your menus will be similar across all microbreweries, or they'll be different?
For us, all the locations have the same menu, but cities like Vijayawada, the cities in Andhra, they have a smaller menu, which is part of the Bangalore menu. So technically it's the same menu, but Bangalore has much extensive. The bigger cities have an extensive menu, and the smaller cities have the smaller menu, which is taken from the bigger menu. So yeah, we have the same menu everywhere.
Okay. Minakshi, no three places of yours are same. The idea behind that?
Yeah, so see, I mean, you've been to all three. DNA is the same. They're all three bartenders bars. They're all cocktail first. They're all bartenders first places. Having said that, everything else after that has been defined by the location, by the target audience, and by also the timeline. So you have to understand, when we opened Cocktails in Dream Speakeasy in 2012, that was the first of its kind speakeasy basement bar in Gurgaon, literally in the middle of nowhere, which I still think is in the middle of nowhere. And then that time when we started, we were doing old fashions and whiskey sours and the classics and the basic, pigs in a blanket and sliders, that sort of menu, and it was wow, right? Then 2018, when we opened Sidecar, while it's still a cocktail bar, again, bartender first, cocktail first, the vibe is still the same, like the buzzword, the vibe is still there. Having said that, it's very much a GK2 neighborhood bar. So it's a bar which is catering to the audience which is coming around there, who we want to make sure that, who have, whatever exposure it is that they've had, and we are trying to elevate the game there. Now with Brook in Crosspoint in Gurgaon, again, it is catering to the audience which is in Gurgaon. It is a high street in Gurgaon per se, as they call it. So we've created the bar for that audience. So we have handpicked we know the product, the baseline is the same, but everything else we've tried to creatively change. The narrative, the storytelling, the cocktails, the menus, even the food is changing throughout. We actually do very seasonal menus in all the three places. We have we're actually at it. So constantly creating menus. Yeah.
Pawan, just to understand from you, most of the places which are good all-day diner, restaurant, bars, what is the difference now? What sets a place apart? Because all of them might end up looking similar with different names.
Definitely. So let me put this point across first, and this is something that we all at Chrome have started really believing in is that the customer has visited our restaurant even before actually physically visiting it, and they've done this on Instagram, right? We feel that majority of the people that have been visiting any of our outlets has actually they've seen videos of the space, they've seen other people put up stories or reels about it. They've seen our Instagram pages, they've seen our pictures on aggregator platforms, and after that, they've made a very conscious choice to be able to, make a reservation there and come. And I feel this is practically a case in most of the destination restaurants, I would call it, where people actually make a reservation, plan this a couple of weeks in advance or a week in advance, and then come, right? So this has been a huge shift in the entire population now, where especially for all-day dining restaurants and premium restaurants, when people are making a reservation, they know what they're coming in for, right? And once a person has come in, they've already come in with a certain amount of expectation that they've seen online, and now all you're trying to do is try and make that experience even better on ground than what one would have sort of seen digitally.
Okay. Sumit, how similar are 1/8s across the country, or what's the difference in each outlet? Is a different decor for each city like important for you, or how do you what's the difference between different outlets?
See, actually, like if you talk about, we are in a multiple cities, like we are more than 11 restaurants right now in India. We are in almost right now in 6 cities, and we are expanding more. But every city is having its own essence actually. So when you come to Delhi, Delhi is having a different culture altogether to come out, to eat, to drink, to experience the brand. Bombay is very, very different. Like Bombay is very obviously, like it's a cosmopolitan city, and it's one of the best in terms of the concepts and formats. So in Bombay, you especially like in Bombay, actually you have to be very, very particular about your offerings on the menu. Then when you go to places like Mohali, so that's a city actually where it's still evolving. They are coming to that level. So every city is very, very different, and cuisine to cuisine as well. Like certain people, like we do pin code as well. So we have pin code in Abu Dhabi. We having pin code in Dubai. So that cuisine over there, like the taste buds are very different than India. So to me, actually, what I feel like India or abroad, like the taste buds are very different. You you can have a similarity in the ambience, you can have a similarity in the music, or you can have a similarity in the SOPs, the process, the formats which you do over there, but not with the you can say like the backbone basically, which is your food and beverages.
Okay. And Teja, what are you observing, experiencing in the world of microbreweries? What are you seeing happening? Not just your place, in general. What are the trends that you've noticed? What are things happening?
I think microbrewery is still a small world. Only limited cities in the country have microbreweries as of now. And also, like say for example, if you go to the smaller cities, there are hardly 1 to 2 players in any of the smaller cities, majority of the cities, at least in southern part of the country. So it's all about one thing is now I think the new trend that is going on is the collaborations. So for example, at Iron Hill, we collaborate with Third Wave Coffee, and we did a stout beer with their collaboration. So that worked out very well for us, and I think Third Wave is also happy, and we are trying to do one more collaboration with the Third Wave. So collaborations is something which we started, and I think which is slowly picking up momentum, something different in the beer world. So other than that, the food part for us, we try to. I mean, most of the outlets are all the Iron Hills. The food menu is global cuisine, so it has something for everyone. So, and when we design the food menu, we see whether that food will go with your beer or not, or whether it goes with your cocktail. And we try to reduce the oil content in the food because cocktail, I mean, alcohol dries you up. And at the same time, if you're having some oily food, it increases the dryness, and the consumption of the person will come down, or it creates some uncomfortable situation with the person. So those, I mean, the food. That's how we, at least, when we're doing the menu, we keep those things in our mind when we're doing the menu. It's the same thing with the cocktails also. Whether the cocktail goes with any of the food menu items which we have. I think brewing side, it's people are trying something new every day. It's an everyday exploring thing. I don't think it will stop anyway soon.
Uh, Minakshi, collaborations, very important point he pointed out. Uh, Bars would run a lot on collaborations now. How important is it? And what is the right collaboration? Like
Oh,
beer and coffee example he gave sounds perfect.
yeah, I mean, collaboration is the buzzword. Everybody, and I feel like very, very strongly that collaboration comes from both parties. What that means is that it's a place of mutual respect, which has to start from there to say that, okay, I really respect what Iron Hill is doing, and Iron Hill really respects what Sidecar is doing. So let's create a drink together with which is a brewed cocktail, which kind of puts both of us together front and center at the venue, and then we market it together with the same sort of excitement, with the same sort of judiciousness, and that's what a really great collaboration is. We have always thrived on many collaborations. One of the most amazing collaboration that we ever did was Makai Bari Tea, world's first tea estate, which is in Darjeeling, massive. So we did a first flush with them. It's a huge deal that we created a tea menu with them. Then we have a association with Subco. We have a mini Subco on the first floor at Sidecar. So collaborations have always been a key word. We just associated and collaborated with Royal Enfield, a bike, the mountain bike, India's pride again. And we've put that front and center in the new bar. We have a massive artwork thanks to their UNESCO project. And we've put it because the bar is about the mountains, about the hills, about the 13 states of India, which are actually bordering the Himalayan states. And it has come together really beautifully for us and for them. So the conversation of the concept, it has to start from the concept and then say, does the collaboration work for me? It might also not work. It's quite okay for it to not work. You must have seen a lot of guest shifts, a lot of chef pop-ups, a lot of forehand dinners that happen. They are all collaborations, and they're all about the fact that we want international, say, talent, international bartenders, international chefs to come in and showcase their, craft and actually share that with the Indian audience. It actually elevates our game internally as well as externally. So our audience also, gets really excited to see that, oh wow, this is a drink that I've never heard of before or never seen before. So collaborations are, yeah, it's you can go like wild.
Is it right, Pawan? Like, do you really now need more than just your brand?
I actually just wanted to add on a quick bit to what Minakshi said earlier. While I completely agree to her, an addition point to how we look at it for our places is we feel collaboration is also about leveraging distribution. So there is a particular brand who we might collaborate with today, and they come with a certain amount of goodwill distribution that they have in their city or their state, or even internationally, right? And today, when our brand collaborates with them, we get access to this whole database that they've put in so much effort creating, and vice versa. We recently collaborated with a brand which is not based out of Bombay, but they soon look at Bombay as a great market. So when they came down to Bombay for that particular night and did a guest shift at one of our places, they actually got to experience the Bombay market firsthand. They got a lot of sort of feedback or reviews on the kind of product they wanted to put out. And this is a fantastic way for brands to also explore new markets by collaborating with friends in those cities. exploring it as a new market, and then also sort of getting this good head into a different space they want to get into.
Okay. Sumit, you've been around for some time in the hospitality industry, and you've been part of chains that have outlets in multiple cities. How important are locations? Like, how do you decide which location will work? Like, is it a mall location that will work, high street location that will work?
So the core is for the location is the format, the concept which you want to make. So like if it is a food format, it's like purely you are serving only food and you are dishing out almost 200 dishes actually a day. Then you should be there in the mall actually because you have a more eyeballs over there. And if you are like a place which is like a global food where you have music and you have like a vibe actually which these days like everyone started creating actually called high energy bar. So you have to be there on the high street because over there it's becomes like a destination and you are not you've been like you can basically you can stand out actually when you're there in the high when you're having a format like high energy bar and you're in a real estate. And also it depends on the demographic as well, like if you're looking for a location, obviously like the real estate is getting very expensive these days. So like if you're going to Juhu, then you have to be like a Juhu is a best demographic place right now. If you talk about Bombay, Juhu, Bandra, these are the few real estates places where things working really well for everyone. Actually, it's not for one brand, but for every brand. So demographically, it's very important that where exactly you're placing your brand and what sort of a concept you are doing it. If you're doing a food, then definitely go to a mall that really makes your brand flourish. And if you're doing a high energy bar, if you're doing a speakeasy bar, if you want to do a place like something like a very boutique product, then you should be there in the high street because that values are more.
Okay. Minakshi, you started off Speakeasy and then Sidecar. Now, right from the time you conceptualize a product, are you conceptualizing an award-winning product, or you're just thinking of delivering a good bar?
No, no, it never starts from awards. I mean, if you are doing it for the awards, then you're doing it all wrong. You have to start with the.
You don't think that another world's 50 best or 100
No,
best?
no, it shouldn't be also. And I tell that this to a lot of younger, like, restaurateurs or even your team members who are dying for like, oh, what is the rank? This bug has got this rank. We should also be there. And see, it's great for motivation. It's fantastic to get awards. It's amazing to get the recognition. But I feel you have to get the footwork first, right? And you start with doing a great concept because you love it, because you want to do it, because you believe in it, you have the passion for it, you will do the man hours, you'll do all of that. And then the rewards are, of course, the money that will come with it, the recognition that will come with it, the awards that will come with it, the change that you will make after that, the guest love, right? So we always talk about the fact that it's all our bars are guest first, and then anything else. And I mean, there's no point in going to award-winning bars if there are no people in those bars, So you know what I mean. So it's very, very important for that, and I feel it's time to and I think it's a global conversation as well with awards, and they are becoming bigger and bigger as you go. So it's very important to remember that it starts from the basics, and if you're doing it right, you will get it. You will get the recognition. If guests love you, then everybody else will love you.
Superb. Teja, just to ask you, I mean, the topic of our discussion, flavor the feast. You run multiple food establishments. How do you flavor the feast in today's day and age?
So I mean, so we are into traditional food and we are into the young generation modern food. We're in both the sides of the coin. So traditional food is so we don't try to meddle with that. We try to get the dish right. But earlier, I mean, like the olden recipes, like what they used to do, like maybe the previous generations, like grandmothers. So those kind of recipes, mostly that's what we try to do at Easter or something, or UTK. But if it's at Iron Hill, we try to do like a fusion of it, mostly something which appeals to everyone from all the cuisines or from all the uh, areas. So
Okay. Pawan, just to understand from you, now do you look at your place as a all-day place or a nightlife place that will do well in the day as well?
The simple question, the simple answer to your question is, see, we're leasing out the property and paying that rent for 24 hours, right? So what we try and do is how much can we utilize that space? The idea is, number one, of course, to work within the government framework. Every space, city, state, location will have different time slots, right? So the idea is obviously to run within the time slots, but then there are some permissible time slots which are generally not used, which, like example of 6 a.m. to 12 noon, right? Our restaurants would start at 12 noon, but then we'll use that pre-opening time to give it out for shoots or try and do morning events over there or hold business workshops in the day, etc. The idea is to monetize as many number of hours as possible in terms of being core service to us, which is our F&B. Some of our restaurants have lunch and dinner seatings. A new space, which is a cocktail forward space we're launching in Bombay now, would function only in the evenings. We're not looking at starting that in the day. But the idea is to always use the non F&B hours for other events and still gain revenue out of that.
Okay. Just starting from you only, and it's a question for everyone. What's there on your beverage menu? How important is it? Because ultimately, also the choice of brands that you have.
Right. So currently we are extremely focusing on data-driven beverage menus. So I'll actually divide this into two parts. The cocktail menu is separate. The signature cocktail menu, I'll come to that later. But primarily the beverage menu is more data-driven. We are ideally seeing what the customer behavior is, and 80% of our menu will always be what moves. So the idea is to not just have a lot of brands on the menu for the sake of giving variety, but keep a very concise and fast-moving menu. So we never are heavy on a lot of stock in the store. The other 20% of the menu is something that allows variety plus brand building. So say a 10% quotient for each. A brand building would be very like different brands or rather, brands that we really want to support. Space for new and young brands on our menu, which we also want to highlight or rather put forward to our guests. Maybe not famous today, but in the future they would work really well. And the other 10% is something that might not move often, but you'd always have that one-off customer that will come and ask for it, right? So that is the other 20% of our menu. So that is how we've been treating our beverage menus. We also currently have data from across the 11 different outlets and so many years, and that data is now being used to curate beverage menus across everywhere. Along with this, one major portion that also plays a big part is what are the alcohol sort of relationships and deals we have with the distributors and the brands, which helps us, get in a very comfortable space. So this is for the beverage menu. In terms of the signature cocktails, it's always about re-innovating what we've been doing and also trying and putting forward something new in the city or the location that we're playing in. That is practically so how our food menus are chefs call. Our signature cocktail menu is entirely our mixologists or bartenders call, and the idea that they have is currently to keep innovating and adding something new on the menu that puts us forward as a space that's trying to recreate and add a lot of energy into that.
Sumit, adding, just taking this question forward.
So like you rightly said, actually, like we analyze our data from the menu mixes what we get from all different locations actually, and we understand from there on we understand the customer behavior. But in our case, actually, we are in multiple cities, multiple states. Drinking habits also changes a lot. Actually, when you go to north, you find more of whiskey drinkers actually. So you have to keep that in mind where you are opening actually. So like now these days, if you see actually there is a new change and movement actually in the drinking habits. Also, people started loving tequila, which was like not there in the trend when I started working actually with the hotels and everywhere. So tequila is coming up like anything. So they're basically this mezcals are now in a trend with sparkling waters and other stuff. So this is what it happens with the beverage menu also. When your demographics changes, your drinking habits also change. So like you go more towards north, then your cocktails will sell less because people are in a habit to drink straight drinks. The cocktails are not picking up there. But yes, like slowly people are like evolving, and I think the entire community is coming towards the cocktails these days.
Yeah, Minakshi,
Yeah.
just taking this question forward, how do you decide which beverage brands need to be there and how important is it?
Massively. So, I mean, 100% agreeing with both Pawan and Sumit as well, that we also rely a lot on data. You should always, so you don't need to know your numbers to get into any business, right? So this is a proper number game where you have to understand what is your beverage cost, just like you understand food cost. And beverage cost comes from getting the great deals with pouring brands. And if you know that, say, gin is the maximum highest selling or moving product in a cocktail in terms of the menu, so you should definitely have a good partner with a gin company or the portfolio that you want to actually promote. It's a lot about knowing the balance between quality and price. While I'm not saying that you completely give really low quality product to make the maximum money, but it's also to understand that you also cannot pour above a certain threshold, because then your beverage cost is through the roof and you will never understand why you're not making money from your beverages.
Yeah.
And it's great because restaurants that are making really good beverage sales, actually, beverages is where you'll have multiple off. You will never have many main courses in a night, but you can have many cocktails in the night. So you can actually, beverages help to pump up the beverage and the food and beverage offering together as a base as well. So just from a costing point of view, understanding numbers point of view, it's very, very important to get the right deals in place so that you can fix on the, say, beverage cost. And we always say, ideally, if you're a bar like a One Commune, then you should be in the space with the 500 packs, with this much movement, you should be sitting at a good beverage cost of this much, right? And then if you're a 50 packs place, then your beverage cost should be at this much, depending on what and who your target audience is, how much you want to spend on it. So it will also vary, but it should not vary that much. It should not be more variable than 5% for sure. Also, like, this is the first year that we've done this. We've actually created a flavor wheel for the first time because from all the data that we've had, we've actually been able to create a flavor wheel and been able to see the consumer trend in terms of which are we liking sweet more, sour more, spicy more, salty more, umami more. So there are many, many flavors in the wheel which are coming up, and you can actually see the movement really well. And we typically follow a 60-30-10 breakup to say that 60 will be your most popular, the most fast-moving drinks. So you need to make sure that the brands that you're pouring with them have to meet the price point that you need. And then
Recording in progress.
And then the rest. and then you go to the 30, which is basically a little more, little more premium drinks, which maybe like a Negroni or maybe a Martini. And then you go to a super premium, which is a 10%, which is just sitting almost like it is just sitting to make people feel good about it. Maybe you're just selling 10 of them in a year, but it just makes it look like a fancy place.
Nice. From you, microbrewery, of course, beer is the focus. It is the main ingredient that will drive people, but your beverage menu is equally important. The brands you choose.
Yeah, so both beverage and beer, everything, all the liquids are important. So, I agree with Sumit and Minakshi and Pawan. So we do analysis of everything. Like, say, we do data analysis for the food sales or the beer sales and cocktail sales. And most of the calendars will be, data analysis plays an important role for us in designing the calendar, which part of the year, what should be there, or like, say, for example, if winter is coming, we try to do a beer with whiskey. So because whiskey is something which is preferred when the weather is too cold. So at the same time, so we also work with different alcohol brands when we are designing the menu. So so a lot of the fast-moving cocktails. So we work with some of the brands and we try to negotiate or get a good pricing from the companies where we are using where the high volume of alcohol is used from certain brand.
Okay. Now, these guys are here. Any questions anybody has? They're running some really lovely establishments, some of our favorite ones, where most of us hang out. If there's any question for either of them.
All right, I'll ask one final time. Any questions? Else we'll close the session. No. Nice. All right. With this, Mr. Ali will have to thank our panelists and you. Any closing remarks from our panelists or
Yeah,
you?
just before the next session starts, just one fun question to all of you. What's your take on influencers?
They play a very important role actually to get the people to you actually, because they've been followed, they've been reached by a lot of people actually in these days, and social media plays very big role. I have few people actually over here. So
Other than Mr. Tikku, we all know him. You can't name him. We all know him.
So the way he actually explained the dishes actually on his reels, I have never seen it actually. Sorry, but the way he will explain you the lacha paratha. So they play a very big role actually. They're the one actually, those who get you the eyeballs. And these days, as we said, like the social media is growing and people are there and trending things are happening. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we are all in the same ecosystem. So, I mean, your media, we are restaurateurs, then, and